welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sam, otherwise known as Sneerix from TikTok, and today I wanted to talk about a particular situation that I came across on Instagram. This was related to a parent's response to their child bullying. Now, me being ignorant assumed that the comment section would be pretty unanimous, that people would be outraged or just completely disgusted with this approach to teaching their child. However, that was not the case at all, and that's why I wanted to bring this scenario to a video today and have us talk about it and determine whether or not this response was justified. Before we go ahead and jump into the video, make sure that you are following me on here and you like this video so you can see more of my stuff. And also, my neighbors have decided to blast music through their speakers at 10:30 in the morning while I'm filming this video. So if you happen to hear some weird music in the background, promise it's not me, it's my neighbor, and we're just gonna have to deal with it. So yes, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So this video is pretty quick. It's just a very simple concept, and I'm going to go ahead and play it for you guys here so you can know what exactly we're talking about, and then we can go ahead and break it down.
I am a bully. Honk if you hate bullies.
Boo parents.
Dude, that's so foul.
Is that like...
I don't know.
I want to yell at the parents.
So as you can see, this video is showing a point of view from a car of drivers witnessing a child standing on the side of the road holding a sign that says, "I am a bully, honk if you hate bullies." And the parents are right off to the side supervising, so he's not by himself or anything like that. And I would assume that this was their doing, considering they are there making sure that he is the one doing it. I had pretty much the same response as these guys in the car. I was immediately just so confused why this was a appropriate teaching method for somebody that was struggling, because if you're bullying somebody, there's obviously something going on in your life that is causing you to behave this way. I am a firm believer that people don't just bully and people aren't just mean because they're born that way. Of course, genetics play a role in it. However, your environment is probably going to play the biggest role in determining how you are going to respond to a particular situation or how you're going to act on a day-to-day basis. So in seeing this, my immediate reaction is that the parents are treating this situation by fighting fire with fire. And by that, I mean they are responding to his bullying or harassing other people or whatever it is. I'm not exactly sure of the extent of what they define as bullying here, but I would assume that they are saying, well, if you're going to be mean to other people, if you're going to harass other people, we're going to humiliate you in front of everybody, and this is going to be a lesson learned, because you're always going to remember being humiliated, and that's going to be enough to get you to stop acting this way. So one, I would just like to say here that I appreciate that they are at least trying to do something in response to their child bullying, because we know that there's definitely parents out there who will defend their child, and some parents don't see anything wrong with their child's behavior. Some parents just don't care enough. So I do want to give them credit here for at least responding to their child being a bully. That's probably the only credit I'm going to be able to give them throughout this video, so I wanted to just throw that in here. But my biggest problem with this particular scenario, and I'm not sure how you guys feel, so please, the whole point of this is that we're going to have a conversation and talk about this, so make sure that you leave a comment below describing how you feel in response to this situation. But for me personally, I was just very confused what exactly about this method is teaching the child not to bully anymore, especially when a parent is someone that you should be able to go to as a child. Of course, that's not always the situation. Everyone's family is different. But ideally, a parent is someone that you should be able to go to and be a safe place for you to make mistakes and for you to be wrong and be vulnerable. And in this situation, I feel that the parents were not exactly a safe space to go to. I don't really know exactly the whole background information on this, so I can only take this all at face value, but you know, there could have been an extensive learning process after the fact or before the fact, I don't know. But I can probably just assume that this was the idea that they came up with. For me here, I think what's important is to, instead of immediately point fingers at somebody and say, "You're a bully, you deserve it, this is what you got coming to you," I don't really think that that's a fair response, because one, we're talking about a child here. We're talking about someone who is still learning. We're talking about someone who needs room to make a mistake in order to learn. Now, of course, That does not mean that they get to walk around and bully other people and it just be okay, and then it just be, oh, little Timmy just is learning. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that when a child makes a mistake or are engaging in aggressive or bullying type behaviors, there's probably a reason behind that, and that reason should be addressed instead of just humiliating them in front of a group of strangers. And a lot of that is coming from something in their home life or in something in their personal life that has caused them to behave this way, whether that be another peer doing it to them, whether that be the parents doing that to them, whether that be just something that they picked up because something is not being fulfilled inside of them so that they are projecting their problems onto other people. There are several categories as to why somebody would bully somebody, and every single category pretty much stems from some sort of insecurity or something that is just not right in this person. So to see a child standing on the side of the road holding a sign that says, "I'm a bully, honk if you hate bullies," doesn't exactly feel like a method that would stop somebody from bullying in the future, because this is just the parents bullying the child. And this approach is teaching when someone does something wrong, you either fight fire with fire or you humiliate them, which makes me believe that next time something goes wrong in his life, the coping skill he knows is to humiliate somebody, because this is what he's being taught. We don't just obtain positive coping skills from the blue. These are things that we have to learn. So this child is being taught that in order to teach someone a lesson, you need to basically do to them what they're doing to others. And maybe that's looking a little bit too far into it and being a little bit too literal. I know things aren't always exactly black and white, of course, but when it comes to children and behavior, that is something I'm pretty well versed in. I literally was a behavior therapist for 3 years, and I got my master's degree in special education and applied behavioral analogy. So hence why we're often analyzing behaviors. That's kind of my forte. So I would just really like to know what you guys think about this particular situation, because I can't exactly find any sort of reason for doing this, especially because the people in the car were like, this is weird. I feel like the whole point of them being out there is to get people to teach him a lesson, and these people were very uncomfortable doing so. That's supposed to be the parents' job. I think purposefully putting someone on the spot in a situation where they are vulnerable and humiliated is just not exactly a method that I would ever suggest or go by, because I think that in itself is going to be more traumatic for the child. And I know that there's people out there that are going to say that he deserves it because he's a bully, and that's kind of where I'm trying to get away from, is he deserves this, they deserve that. I want to look more as to what has caused this child to bully, especially in seeing this reaction from the parents. I believe that as a parent, you should probably reflect on yourself and your own teaching methods and your own responses, because of course you are a model for the children around you, for your family. And if you are bullying others, or if you are setting that example that this is the way that I handle situations when I'm upset or when I don't like somebody, that is likely going to be reciprocated by your child. So I don't want to say the parents are 100% to blame, because of course everybody is their own person. However, when you're a child and your parent is supposed to be setting the example for you, and this is the example that they're setting, I just don't really see any sort of positive outcome from this. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to change the child's behavior, because eventually, if this is just the same approach that they have every time, this kid's not going to be humiliated by this. This is just going to be a common everyday thing, or whatever, maybe not every day, I would hope not, but this is just going to be something that eventually every single time it's going to be less and less humiliating. So therefore, you're not teaching anything. You're just putting them in a punishing situation that ultimately won't be punishing anymore. Now, I do want to point out that I am not a parent, and I feel like that was something that people were using as like a defense for this parent, is they were like, well, you're not a parent, so you don't know what you're talking about, because of course I got into it with some people in the comment section. A lot of people were very much in support of what they were doing. They were saying great parenting. They were saying this is exactly how you handle a situation. And when I commented on it and was like, no, I don't really think that public humiliation is an appropriate teaching method, I had people questioning me, saying like, oh, well, how many children do you have? Because I have 2 boys and 2 girls, and I raised them in the South, so you must not be from the South, because blah, 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 which I, in response to that, was very confused why growing up in the South was a justification for mistreating your child, but that's here nor there. And I had people, saying, well, this kid has made other children and therefore he deserves it, which I'm not sure where they got that particular information from, because I, in reading these articles, have not seen anything related to that. Now, I did see some comments here, more so in the article about this post, not so much in the actual Instagram post, because you know how it works. All the high liked comments go all the way to the top, and anyone that doesn't agree with you, you don't get featured in the top comments. So in the article, it looks like people have kind of agreed more with me here, which I appreciate. So I'm going to read some of these comments of people that were outraged. Publicly embarrassing your child isn't the way to fix the problem. His parents probably bully him at home, so he goes and bullies someone weaker, which is kind of the point that I had. Probably a reflection of behavior that you've learned. Somebody says, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Kids act out when they are lacking guidance, attention, and love in the household. Somebody else said, we see where he gets it from. Somebody said, humiliating children is traumatic, especially when they aren't fully developed. Kids who act out tend to have something wrong at home, which is exactly what my point was. Humiliating your child, I don't believe is ever going to be an appropriate response, especially in something as serious as bullying. If your child is bullying, I think that you should really reflect on yourself and things that you've done to cause this to be kind of the model behavior. And, changing your own behavior and analyzing your own behavior is uncomfortable, and it's really hard, especially when you're set in those ways, or maybe that's something that you learned from your childhood and you're just perpetuating that into your new family. That can be really difficult, and some people don't exactly have the capacity or even the information to know that what they're doing is incorrect. So I'm not going to sit here and say that these are bad parents, because I don't know these people. So that's why I wanted to talk about this here. So if you maybe are in a situation like this, or watch this video and you kind of had the same response that this is great parenting, maybe stop and look at it from a different point of view. Children aren't bullies just because they're born bullies. That's not how bullying works. And in this situation, I believe that this is probably something that came from the home. But I felt for this kid, and I know that that's kind of weird because he's supposed to be the bad guy in this situation, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't think children are bad guys. I think that this is something that needs to be addressed as an entire household, and everyone needs to change their ways in order for this not to continue, especially if there are other kids at school that are affected by this and that are being bullied, because of course that is just as important. Kids or people in general being bullied is just as traumatic. So, I would really like to know what you guys think about this situation. Let me know in the comments below. And if you see any other videos that you want me to talk about, please go ahead and send them to me. My Instagram and all my other social medias are linked below. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have an amazing new year. Let me know your 2022 predictions, because I asked you guys on Instagram and they were all negative. So maybe we can get some positive affirmations out there for 2022. All right, guys, see you next time.